So we got the Nova fired up and running on coil and their plug. Now I'm going to show you what you have to do in order to get it operational. Stick around. Okay, so we've got the car running on the coil and their plug conversion, and there's a couple small things that are going to help you out along the way. We're using a Holley dual sync EFI distributor, which we've taken the rotor and cap out of it. So literally all that's left in there is the shutter wheels. And what you get on this setup is a 4 crank and a 1X cam sensor. And if you go underneath there and look, you're actually going to see a wheel with 8 teeth on there, because you got to remember that the cam rotates at half the speed of the crank. So you're getting 2 rotations out of the crank for every 1 rotation out of the cam. Well, those individual teeth on there are going to be the signals that go out and tell the ECU whenever to fire the coils. Because you have a cap on there, normally you have your spark plug wires in your firing order, and so that thing just rotates in there and fires the plugs as it goes past where they need to be on the cap. We're doing something different because we're using an ECU to fire individual coils. In doing so, we've got to make sure our signals sync up. Beforehand, the sync up portion of it literally was just making sure that our timing control was dialed in at the right angle. And so if you follow the instructions on a lot of these, they're going to tell you set it at 40 or 50 degrees before top dead center. And so what I ended up doing was leaving this thing where it was at. It was at 48 degrees before top dead center beforehand, because we were still using an MSD box to do the coil and initiate spark through the distributor on there, and then we were triggering the MSD box from the ECU. Well, now that that's out of there, we have to make sure that that timing lines up. And so in your software, you're probably going to have some different options based on which software that you're running. Now, if you're running a Holley setup, they have that data in there. It's literally a drop-down box where you choose the dual sync and you say that you're doing coil and their plug, and all the stuff in the background's done. They know the exact degrees that the crank and cam trigger should be offset from each other. And because of that, it's a little bit easier on that setup. Now, probably don't want to drive around with a screwdriver underneath the hood. Now, whenever we get into something that is not Holley-based, anything Haltech, AEM, Megasquirt, things like that. And in fact, I got a lot of my information from the Megasquirt guys, because there's just no information on how to set this up outside of that. Nobody's really been any help. Because of that, we have to dive into finding the actual angles on here. And interesting enough, if you set up the dual sync as it says to do it through the instructions, the cam signal, which all of these are falling edge signals, which means you're going to have 12, maybe 12 volts. Actually, I think it's around 9 volts that is being sent to the ECU. Whenever the ECU sees that signal go away, that's whenever it knows that there's a pulse at that point in time. And so the cam signal actually falls off right before the number 2 cylinder, which is the last one in the standard firing order on a small block Chevy. Because of that, we've got a couple things that we can do and have to do. One of them is we've got to find top dead center with a timing light on here. And if you're like me and you don't have a timing light that'll work while it's cranking, you're going to probably have to pull your spark plugs off, pull the plugs out, go ahead and disconnect your fuel injectors and stuff like that. That way you can get enough RPMs on there that your timing light's going to actually work, and you can actually see where you're at. Now, I went in after looking at the cap and following the lights on there. The lights on the dual sync, in fact, are on whenever the signal's low, and they're off whenever the signal's high. So whenever it goes from off to on the dual sync distributor, that's whenever the signal is going low and telling the ECU, hey, this is the new cam event or crank event. Using that knowledge, I went in, just rotated the thing over by hand and was watching the cam signal until it fell off, and then took note of where it was in the line based on how I had it set up originally, with number 1 being pointed towards the number 1 cylinder. So what does that mean? Well, we have to go into the software then and say, okay, instead of starting on number 1, we're starting on number 2. And a lot of these softwares will have the actual angles that you can put in there. You just want to make sure that you're keeping the angles 90 degrees off from each other. And so you'll have a 0 angle for your first cylinder that fires 90, 180, 270, 360, 450, 540, and 630 will be your 8th cylinder in the chain. Not necessarily cylinder 8, but the last one in the firing order chain on a V8. So we have that information. Then we look at the cam sensor and say, okay, where is that cam sensor dropping off and sending the signal to the ECM that's basically saying, okay, start the firing order now. Well, we could jockey this thing around and get the cam sensor to line up with the pulse that we would want to see for cylinder 1, but it's just easier to go into the software and say, hey, we know the cam sensor falls off right before cylinder 2, start the firing order on 2, and just advance through the standard firing order starting on 2 instead of cylinder 1. Everything works perfectly fine doing that. But even still, we have a cam adjustment angle that we have to set up because we need to know how many degrees before the crank trigger fires, the cam trigger fires to start that, because you don't want them lined up. You want to give the cam sensor a little bit of time to say, hey, this is the start of the rotation before it sees a crank sensor signal. That way it's ready to go. You know, there is a processing loop that these things have to run, and it runs in microseconds. It's very fast, but if those two signals are very close to overlapping each other, you're going to have an issue. Now, using a setup like the dual sync, that's not a problem because they've got the two stator wheels rotated in a way that there's always going to be some offset between the cam signal and the first cylinder signal. So now that we've gone in and we've adjusted our firing order to reflect which cylinder is going to be first after the cam sensor, we should be able to put our timing light on, crank the motor over without the spark plugs in there, get enough RPMs, you'll see 50, 60 RPMs on crank, and that will trigger the timing light, and we can actually see how many degrees out that we are. We need to keep in mind, though, because we originally had this as a distributor, that we have a lot of base advance in the distributor in there. We're coming on, as I said, about 50 degrees before top dead center, and that's because you've got about 40 degrees of spark control angle on a distributor, and that gives it enough time that the ECM can say, okay, this one's getting ready to fire this cylinder, and we're looking for, say, 30 degrees of timing. I need to trigger it at this point in time in order to achieve that 30 degrees of timing. That's less critical whenever we're running coil near plug because we have a lot more timing control. We can go outside of that 40 degree range on the distributor and rotor, which we don't need to because, running more timing than that is not going to be any benefit. But because of that, we do still have a crank sensor offset on there. And so I left it at the 48 degrees. Now, there was a reason for that because whenever we come in here and we start getting our cylinder lined up and we're looking for top dead center, and I used a dial back light to say that, hey, I'm commanding the ECU to stick it at 15 degrees advance, put 15 degrees of advance into the dial back light, I should see my marker directly on the 0 point on my pointer. Now, doing that and changing the firing order got us close. Didn't get us there all the way. Then we have a cam sync adjustment, particularly on this platform and on almost any of them that you're going to be dealing with, that you can adjust that in degrees. And so if you are flashing that light off and you're still 15, 20 degrees off, you can actually adjust the cam sync output and it is going to shift that over. At the same time, you can just adjust the timing offset and do the same thing. It's, half a dozen, 6 the other. You're accomplishing the same thing at the end of the day where you want the timing to line up with whenever it is firing these coils. The limitation on the AEM unit is that you only get 120 degrees of cam sync. Sounds like a lot, but it actually isn't whenever you're thinking in 720 degrees because of 2 revolutions of the crank. So 120 degrees isn't actually, a big amount of that. So I maxed that out, and even by maxing that out, I was still about 6 or 7 degrees out. After getting that maxed out and seeing that I was about 7 degrees out, I can then go in, adjust the cam timing, the cam sync offset there to get that to fall in line. Then after that, it's been spot on. I've ran it up to 32 degrees of timing, verified it with the timing light at high RPMs, things like that. So those are the big things that you're going to run into. And I didn't want to lump this all into the other video where I was doing the installation process, but I did want to talk to you about what it took to get this thing running because I was fighting it, trying to kind of stab in the dark and find why it was off. But just changing your firing order on these is not going to be enough because, as I said, your cam and crank sensors being offset, you have to correct for that offset also. Don't forget, after you do all the adjustments and get your firing order dialed in right, to also update your injector firing order. Now, different ECUs are going to handle it differently, and in fact, the AEM one has a 540 degree offset built into it. But you just need to go in, look at the tables that were on there and how it was with the base rotation. And if you moved your firing order back one cylinder, you're just going to want to do the same thing on that table. So you're going to be, taking 90 degrees out of all those things and make sure that they line up to where they were on a standard firing order. But getting that out of the way, the big takeaways on this video are, as I said, pull the spark plugs out, get those out, get it where you can get timing on crank, get yourself a push button so you can stick your head underneath the hood and just leave the car on and crank it over and make the adjustments and things like that. You'll eventually get it. Unfortunately, I reached out to Holley because I wanted to get concrete information on offsets and stuff like that. Those guys, they don't know anything. The tech support guys there are reading from the brochure. So I tried to explain to him what was going on, and he was like, well, it doesn't say anything about that in the PDF file that I downloaded off the website. And I'm like, yeah, I know, because I've downloaded that PDF file off the website. Fortunately, there were some guys on the Mega Squirt forums that had done some of this stuff, and that's whenever it got into the point of like, the base of this is just finding the timing and making the adjustments to those two set points. Timing, cam sync offset and timing offset until it falls in line with your indicator light. So that wraps it up for this one. I just wanted to do a quick rundown of what it took to get this thing running. So if you have any questions, because hopefully this will help somebody out and save them some of the heartache or trouble that I went through on getting this one running. If you have any questions, hit up the comments down below. You guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. And remember, ABT, always be tuning.